Hello, trading is closed on the 3rd of February 2022. We always begin with our disclaimers, so let us do that. It's my trading plan for Friday, February the 4th. Remember, I can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be at your own risk. We said yesterday's action was a bit weak, and if we didn't clear the high promptly, we should see lower prices even if we didn't close lower. Good example of understatement. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this, and tomorrow should have the early low. We said that high price yesterday was yet another candidate for the end of this leg. The last few didn't work, but this one made up for lost time. We do get to cross its price target off the list, 44.96.31. We actually came close to 44.62.94, and we still have this other target from the end of last month at 43.08.82, and at some time I'd expect those numbers to print. You could look at this as a diamond on stilts. Half a diamond's enough. This is the bottom half, and here's the origin of the left stilt, and that's now resistance. It's usually support, but we broke through, so it's now resistance. You can also look at this as an island reversal formation, which is negative. During the day, MEJT gave an ultimate buy signal and a buy signal. It just means there's a higher target. That's the minimum. That's all we got. The buy signal doesn't have to deliver more. The ultimate doesn't have to, but very often you're going to trade over this price, which is 45.20.34. We did it in futures already. It's not required that we do it in cash, but it happens often. It just isn't a requirement, and this whole thing is pretty negative action when you gap down at multiple lows and close under all the lows. If you don't gap up smartly, it should lead to lower prices, but that's something which is common. It's not a requirement either. All in all, for the short term, regardless of what happens tomorrow, I think we see these lower prices, but there actually are signs of hope for the longer term. So let's talk about some price targets for the end of this drop, which are higher than the ones I've mentioned previously. I was looking at 29.31, 29.25. Wave balance was at that price, but if this is an ABC, if that's A and that's B, if that's true, then C is equal to A at 39.08.51, which is this level here. And that level, if you look, is a price target of the prior consolidation. It's a pretty direct hit. You don't get much closer than that. So there is a target at 39.08.51, and that's not the only pattern which targets that price. Here's how I'm counting these current waves, and if you take that high and that low, set at 61.8%, you come up with the same number. So it's entirely possible we hit a low at 39.08.5. In fact, if we drop in a straight line here, I'd be very interested in going long at that price. Friday's pattern has the early low. It could gap up. Typically, it's a rally day with a fine lower high. If it's weak, more weakness should ensue. Today's gap down left an island reversal. Should lead to lower prices regardless of what happens tomorrow. We still need to undercut the close by 1 cent for confirmation, but there are lower targets than they typically print. Now, I can't count this drop as complete. I don't see the type of capitulation I expect to see at major lows. But that being said, the assets in RIDEX bear funds had a huge jump this week. In fact, the last time the level was this high was at the bottom in March of 2020. Doesn't mean you can't go higher, but it's the first sign I've seen that this drop here might not have a lot more to go in terms of time. There's wave balance at 39.0851 cash, and should a waterfall decline to that price occur, and that isn't a given, we'll need to be alert for the possibility of a very sharp reversal. None of this offers a prediction specifically for tomorrow, but that being said, the ultimate buy signal from the afternoon usually delivers more than it did, but it's not required. So there may be a pullback tomorrow. This should lead to lower prices, but I was looking for the low 2900s because of sentiment indicators. If we get a quick drop to the 3900s, I would be interested. And I'd like to point out that this drop is about 600 points. And while it doesn't measure exactly, if you drop about 600 points from here, you'll be in the 3900s, although not exactly at that price. So it's entirely possible that this ABC bottoms out at that level and not anywhere near the prices I was looking for before. Tomorrow has the early low, and that's today's call.